Yeah, so letting go. Zoom in for another live session. Nice to see you both again, Archie, Elaine. So let's dive into today's quote to start with. Some teaching around that and lead us nicely into our workbook lesson for the day, which is lesson 106, I believe, we're on to. Let me find that. No, not that. I'm just going to share my screen with you. There we go. Share screen. All right, so if you can kick it off for us, Archie, by reading that quote from Eckhart Tolle for us.
When you
That'd be
lose
great.
when you lose touch with inner stillness, you lose touch with
Okay.
yourself. When you lose touch with yourself, you lose yourself in the world. Your innermost sense of self, of who you are, is inseparable from stillness. This is the I am that is deeper than name and form.
Yeah, great quote from a book called Stillness Speaks, which is just short little sayings, sutra style. Um, I read one of those every day because you just read it and it's like, okay, there's a fully formed idea and it's just a pointer into this essence, presence, stillness, whatever you want to call it. But that's a great reminder from Eckhart, which highlights the integral connection between stillness and who you really are. Stillness comes from self-knowledge, from knowing who you are.
Yeah.
If you're confused, if you're feeling upset, you're feeling angry, you're feeling emotional in any way, then you have lost touch with who you really are. That's the point.
Yeah.
So the way to know that you know yourself, know thyself, is that you're still, you're calm, you're quiet internally. If that's not the case and there's dis-ease going on in the mind, then you don't know who you really are. And the sickness in the mind is that you don't know who you are. You're confused. You got confused again about your true identity, which obviously we're very prone to do as human beings, because all these apparently external stressors stress us, and they seem to disturb our peace and our stillness. But all of it is really just to confuse us about who we are. And once you understand that, it's a game changer. Okay, so all of this is really about my self-concept. The world is designed to trick me into believing that I'm something that I'm not, and the Holy Spirit just reminds me of who I am. And when I know who I am, I feel calm, I feel peaceful, I'm still, I'm quiet. As soon as I depart from that self-knowledge, my mind goes into a state of other than that, various states of dis-ease start occurring. So the price of not being able to still your mind is to lose touch with your true self and be unable to hear its voice. So it's absolutely critical that we learn to still our mind, which is why practices like meditation, breathing, and so on are so important. Because when we still our mind, we connect with our true self and we start being able to hear its voice, which is calming, which is quiet, which helps us make the correct decision in any situation. So it has a profound influence on our state of mind, our quality of life, and our decisions, which then affects our actions, our words and our actions and our results. And that's how it goes. So, when people say, you lose touch with inner stillness and your life is seriously compromised or it's even over, it's not an exaggeration, because that inner stillness directs everything, or you're in chaos, or there's, the turbulation of the ego. Those are the choices. So every time you choose to still your mind by practicing one of the mind training exercises in your daily workbook lessons, every time you listen to a breath break or do a meditation, you're really choosing to connect with your higher self and listen to its guidance rather than your ego's. And when you experience the peace that applying this quote to your life can bring you, you shouldn't have a problem wanting to make time to do that. Elaine, maybe read that quote for us from Psalms.
Be still and know that I am God.
Great quote, which is just points us back to ourselves. Be still and know that I am God, right? God being pure formless awareness of perfect love. Be still and know that I am that presence. Next year I'll translate that. Be still and know that I am pure formless awareness of perfect love. Translated, that's what it means. Because when we are still, we come to know who we really are. When we're not still, then we get confused about who we are. And that feels very destabilizing. We all know that feeling of like, oh, I'm not sure about this and not sure about this situation. What you're really questioning is who you are in that process. Your ego's in charge, and now you're doubting who you are and you're not connected to that. And that feels awful. So now you're believing in an illusion of a self, and that's very unstable. And that perpetuates obviously more instability. So you see how it works. The more unstable you feel in yourself, the more unstable your mind. You feel not at peace, disturbed, and then the more disturbed you feel, the more disconnected you become from yourself, and so it becomes a vicious circle. But that can be corrected by simple practices, just making time daily to be still through meditation or other means. That might be walking. Archie mentioned like walking, listening to relaxing music, doing yoga. These are all ways that you can be still, even while you're doing some activity. Yoga, you're moving your body mostly. Listening to music, you might be doing that while you're driving, while you're cooking, while you're cleaning, while you're doing any of these activities. But you can still bring in the stillness in a moving meditation. Exercising, moving meditation. You approach it the right way, breathing in through your nose, breathing out through your nose. It's going to be a connected, flowing experience rather than one that brings more dis-ease. So you want to be doing more of these activities that promote this quietness, this stillness. And that's really enlightened self-interest. I've had people say to me, oh, what a luxury to go for a 2-3 hour run. Well, if I don't do that, then that is going to have a consequence, right? Once a week, that's for me, that's an essential. I need to go and do a proper hard exercise session, sweat, because it restores my quietness of mind, restores me to a peaceful state, and the mind body then start, just flow better. Everything works better. So we need to learn, like enlightened self-interest is, yes, take care of myself. We talked about it in the expression, didn't we? Take care of yourself. Make sure you're okay first. Make sure you're breathing that oxygen before you help someone else with the oxygen mask. To quote the aeroplane, we've all, whenever you travel, they give you the speech. But that's for a reason, because they've obviously figured out that if you're stressed yourself, you're not going to be much help to others. You're more likely to panic, and you might, in fact, be a liability because you get it wrong, you're panicking, you're stressing. Then it's also and this is an insight I've just had actually, it's also about promoting calm. The last thing they want is people freaking out on the plane, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So if you don't have enough oxygen, you're getting into a very stressed mental state. That lack of calm is going to spread. If everyone's in that state, everyone's panicking. That's the last thing I want. It's a whole bunch of out of control passengers. So it's about establish the calm, do things in a calm way. It's all okay. Even if we're crashing, it's not helpful to be freaking out. You need to stay calm. And so there's another reason why they do that. And also they know if you breathe, interesting, breathing, that's going to calm you. We get stressed when we don't breathe. So, it's the first thing that happens. Hold your breath for 20, 30 seconds and you find stress arising in your body immediately. So okay, just let's get you into a calm state first before you start trying to help anyone else, because that calmness is the most important thing. So whoever came up with that, is quite wise. Maybe they stress tested it. They probably did tests and various, but it makes sense, makes complete sense. So it's really enlightened self-interest to do that because it's going to benefit others. Your tank's going to be full. You're going to be calm. You're going to be peaceful. You're going to be in a much better state to help others when you are calm and full and peaceful and in an abundant state than if you're stressed and in a scarcity mindset. The stress goes with scarcity. So other people will experience your peace directly if you interact with them. If you're calm and quiet, and you might have had people say to you, oh, I just really like being around you because you calm me down. You can only do that if you calm yourself. If you're in a stressed state, then that doesn't work. And it also happens indirectly by the one mind we all share. So they have this term called frequency holders in some spiritual teaching. Have you heard of that?
No.
So a frequency holder is someone who's not necessarily doing much physically. They're not saying or doing much, but they just hold this peace. They sit in a peaceful state. So we look at what are we looking for? The map of consciousness. You see the map of consciousness over there. At a sort of above 500, you're talking about frequency holders, right? You're holding the loving awareness. You're holding a frequency of peace at 600. At enlightenment, you're holding this presence so strongly that has an impact on everyone else. So David Hawkins, who came up with this, said in his book that someone who holds a frequency of 1,000, so that's the very top level of enlightenment. That is the highest level you can be in a human form. Let's say Yeshua attained that state. Counteracts the entire negativity of everyone else. So everything below 200, that negativity is counteracted on a spiritual, energetic level through one person holding that incredibly high frequency, which is phenomenal. And I get it. I believe because that frequency is so powerful. You look at what someone like Jesus did. Yes, he did counteract the entire negativity of the ego, and made a profound change in human consciousness and human society. So he showed us what one person at that level, who then also acts. The difference with Jesus, he didn't just sit around. He acted. He did a lot in those 3 years of his ministry. He was out there actively teaching, preaching, healing, and as a result, his impact was more profound on the world than if he just sat around and held a frequency of this ineffable peace. So we go back to Where am I now? Back into, there it is. Yeah, right. Into talking about this. As Gandhi pointed out, you must first be the change you want to see in the world. So if you want a more peaceful world, it starts with you making your inner peace a priority.
Mm-hmm.
It's logical, it's so obvious, and yet we miss it. Yeah, the joke of the the violent pacifist who's violent protesting for peace, that kind of, but it does happen.
Mm-hmm.
You go to a peace march and you can see aggression, you can see an edge often. So the only way we're going to have a more peaceful world is to make that our priority. So we are that. We become that which we seek in the world. Hence, be the change you want to see in the world. So I gave you some music. I hope you enjoyed that. We won't listen to it now. From exactly a song based on the song "Be Still and Know That I'm God." That's what he sings about. Really, really beautiful song. And then in this discussion, we talked about some interesting stuff around prayer. So this is about how can you rest deeply through true prayer, which, as you'll discover when you listen to the full session, is the same as forgiveness. So a lot of people go, prayer is something different. The Course says no, it's actually exactly the same process. True prayer is letting go of your negative thoughts and emotions. Because when you do that, you commune with the presence that is you, your true self, and God much more fully. As long as those negative thoughts and emotions are there, they negate the truth of who you are. So you can't fully connect. Okay? So the true prayer is communion with this fundamental awareness. And you only get to that communion through letting go of the blocks to that communion. So true prayer is the same as forgiveness or letting go, because it just the forgiveness or letting go helps you release the blocks to the awareness of love's presence. And when you realize you have this awareness, you also realize you don't need anything else. All prayer in the conventional sense of praying for something external that you think will make you happier becomes irrelevant, because you've accepted that you are already whole and complete and therefore have everything. Yeah. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So in the session, we also discussed the deep peace and the rest that comes from letting go of negative thoughts and emotions, how building mind training practices like daily lessons from Course in Miracles, times of longer rest which you meditate into your daily schedule, is how you integrate this insight about the relationship between prayer and forgiveness into your daily life. And you really do start praying without ceasing. It's another quote from Paul in Thessalonians. Pray without ceasing. He didn't mean that you're going to sit there 24/7, verbally saying prayers. Obviously, that's impossible. And you've got to sleep as well. Praying without ceasing means you are continuously connected to your source. You know who you are. And that is the true prayer. And then everything comes out of that prayer in a flowing state, in a flowing way. So I've translated the original. Maybe we can just read the original quickly. I've translated it into an alternative. So, Elaine, if you can read this original, very short, and then the alternative, I'll flip over to, and Archie can read that.
Where?
Just on the screen.
Oh, this bit here.
Thessalonians, yeah. Rejoice always, pray without ceasing.
Thessalonians, yeah, oh yeah. Thessalonians, rejoice always, pray without ceasing. Give thanks in all circumstances, for this is the will of God in Christ Jesus for you.
Rejoice always. Pray without ceasing. So really asking us to give thanks in all circumstances, even for the adversities. All things work for good, very reminiscent of the Course, because it's the same underlying teaching. So this is in traditional Christianity. Pray without ceasing means you live in the domain of the miraculous. You live in a state of flow. They called it wu wei in Taoism. Pray without, that's what he means. And so you stay in this happy, rejoice always, this happy flow state, and you are grateful even when things are difficult, in all circumstances, because you see that there's always grace, that you can always let go of your judgment of a situation and return to your source and return to this life of praying without ceasing. Okay, so let's read the alternative of that. Archie, if you can read that.
I let go continuously, and I am joyful and grateful for everything I experience, because this is the pure, formless awareness of perfect love for me, demonstrated by Yeshua, who identified only with the one true self we share.
Yeah, thoughts on that? So does the translation work for you better than the original? Did you find that it added something else?
No, I like the translation. Yeah.
So the original, let's go back to that. Rejoice, always pray without ceasing, give thanks in all circumstances. So some of that is, give thanks in all circumstances. Okay, we can understand that. Pray without ceasing. I think a lot of Christians are very confused about that. Rejoice always? What? Like, how do I always be happy? That's just... But if you translate it into flow terms, it's like, okay, I can flow with life, and I can be in this underlying state of happiness. That's what he means by rejoice always.
Yeah.
But I don't have to 24/7 say prayers and be reciting Hail Marys or whatever version of prayer. It's what he's praying without ceasing, referring to a state of mind, a state of consciousness. So very important to realize that, because then the whole quote starts changing. So I'm continuously letting go, and I'm joyful and grateful for everything I experience. So these emotions are really important. The fear, anxiety, stress, that means you're out of flow. Joy and gratitude characterize the flow experience. Because whatever it is, it's the pure formless awareness of perfect love for me. It's God's will for me. Even if it's a seeming negative, it's designed, interpreted correctly, to connect me with my true self even more. And that this was demonstrated by Yeshua. So in Christ Jesus just means that he was the way shower. He was the example who showed us how to live in this way, because he identified only with the one true self that we share. He didn't misidentify himself. And so that's why we call him the Christ, or the true self. It's really simple. He was just authentic. He knew who he was, and everyone else was confused. And then everyone goes, oh, wow, you're so enlightened, you're amazing, you're the Christ, you're the Messiah. And he was like, well, no, not really. You're just all asleep. That's all. You just don't know who you are. And he said, you don't know who you are. So when you'll realize that you can do the things that I've done, and even greater things than these. He said that. When you wake up to your full power, then you'll have the same power as I have. Duh. Well, obviously, because it's not unique to me. The blasphemy that the Christian church has undertaken is that only he can do it. Jesus is somehow very special. He's the only Son of God. and therefore that power is not available to anyone else. What a lie. That is just an outright lie. And it's not supported in the scripture either. Because he did say, things like, I am one with the Father, and he is one with me, and I am one with you. He said that. And he said, you'll do these things that I've done and even greater things. This is all in there. So he's very clearly telling us that this presence, this awareness that guides him can also guide you. And you can do even greater things than he's done if you really listen to that power. So very empowering message. If he'd said, "Well, I'm the only son of God, and you're never going to be as great as me," that would have been a complete lie, and it would have been egoic. And he wouldn't have been the great teacher that he is, because he would have been teaching untruth. All right. So, any comments, thoughts, questions on that?
Yeah, no, it's good.
Yeah, all good.
You see, the reinterpretation can be really helpful.
Yeah.
Once this course is done and out there and stuff, my sort of next project, I think, would be to do the entire Bible and get it done in the with AI. That could be done fairly quickly. You just give it to AI and say, there we go. I just need the full, and say, right here, do these translations across the board, and it would do it. But I need to get the source. I
was going to say, which version of the Bible though will you?
Well, exactly. Which
choose?
version
That's
do
the
you?
thing.
Which version do you
Yeah.
choose? Because there's many versions. Maybe King
Exactly,
James, because that's the classic, or maybe you choose another one. But then I'd have to get the whole transcript. I'd have to get it as an ebook. But with AI, you could do it. You could do it quite quickly. And it would probably need some editing though. Having said that, because it might not all come out exactly right. But it could be really really interesting to translate. I'd probably start with the New Testament actually. Start with the New Testament and get that done, and then see how that comes out, and then maybe do the Old Testament as well. But
that'd be
that would reinterpret a lot of things for people. God, etc. It might not work too well with the Old Testament, because God is does horrible things in the Old Testament. So you couldn't really say pure formless awareness of perfect love condemns his enemies, condemns its enemies, or whatever. So we'll start with the New Testament and see how that one goes. But I think the reinterpretation is really helpful. It brings a new meaning, a new life to these words, which a lot of people don't really understand. Okay, so that there is a live session. There is a recording of a session there, which I recommend you listen to. It was a good one, if I recall. I would pray truly to rest deeply. If you want to go deeper into some of these subjects of prayer and what prayer really means and how that brings us rest, it's there for you. But right now we are going to go into a reading and discussion of today's lesson 106. So let me just bring that up. Just going to find it for you. Let's find it. 106. There we go. Let me be still and listen to the truth. Okay, so let's dive into reading this then, shall we? All right, so let me be still and listen to the truth. Very, very simple, very direct, telling us exactly what we should do. So let's go into the slide on it. In this lesson, we get a new slant, what it means to quiet our minds. If you can read that for us, Archie.
In this lesson, we get a new slant on what it means to quiet our minds. We are to stop listening to the ego's voice telling us what will make us happy. We are told to lay aside the ego's voice and the petty gifts it offers, to not assume we know what salvation is, to not be deceived by false voices that claim they know where the source of life is, and to not be persuaded by the voices of the world.
Yeah, and then we have some images there of the false idols, as the Course calls them, that populate the world and are meant to distract us. Pills, money, protective clothing, favorable outcomes, prestige, knowing the right people, and so on. All these things are part of the ego's thought system, temptations designed to distract us from the truth that's within us. And very effectively so. You think of how most people live and operate. What's their focus on? Is it on their true self? Is it on God, or is it on one or more of these things?
What does it mean by protective clothing there, Jonathan? What's that?
Protective clothing. That's it's actually a direct quote from one of the lessons, which we done that lesson. No, I think it's still coming up. It's lesson 135 or 153, where he talks about these false idols, and he says pills, money, protective clothing. So you think that by wearing some protective clothing, that's going to protect you. Maybe you're on an industrial site and you wear a hard hat, or maybe the protective clothing is protecting you from the elements, the weather. It can be interpreted in a number of ways. And for a lot of people, they feel like they need the clothing to fit in. I was on a train on one of my trips recently, and there were these two girls, and one of them was in high heels, and it looked horrid. I mean, she took them off. Oh, my feet are killing me. I said, well, why do you wear it? No, because where we went, I have to do that to fit in. Right. So there's an example, right? I have to wear something that's the most impractical footwear you can possibly imagine. That's designed to only hurt your feet. It's hurting you physiologically. But I have to wear that because I have to fit in with the crowd, because that's how everyone's supposed to look. I'm like, okay, well, I'm just glad I don't have to do that. But even as a woman, you have a choice. You don't have to do that. It's a choice. You don't have to put yourself through torture to look good. But these are the false idols that he's talking about, where we think that these things are important, and so we wear protective clothing, we value money, we take pills, we value the prestige of the social media, we know the right people, etc., 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 instead of just listening to the truth within us. And so he's highlighting that and saying, okay, just be aware of these temptations and be aware of your own attachment to these temptations. Because often we have these attachments and we have to be honest about it. You popping pills because you think that's going to make you better. Okay, that's a false idol. Needless to say that the medical system and so on is not going to be in agreement with us, but that system is part of the ego's control system. It's part of a thought system that isn't designed for your health and well-being. And if we look at what happened in COVID, that was very obvious, blatantly obvious, that this is not about everyone's health and well-being at all. It's about getting us all to do what the ego wants us to do, which is take the vaccine, and then then fine, then we're done. Suddenly all the restrictions just go. I didn't understand that at all. Like, I literally came over to the UK a couple of months after everything was just dropped, and I could have been sick as a dog. I could have got on the plane with COVID, and no one would have cared. But 2 months before, I had to go into quarantine I couldn't travel, and then I would have had to go into quarantine for 2 weeks. And that doesn't make any sense at all.
Yeah.
The whole thing was bonkers. So, but what do you expect from the ego? It was a lesson in ego dynamics, and it's there to show us the insanity of that thought system, and that it really, it's not something to rely on or trust at all. All right, so let's dive in then to the text of the lesson. So, Elaine, do you want to read the original?
Yeah.
Or do you read the alternative, and we'll switch it?
If you will lay aside the ego's voice, however loudly it may seem to call, if you will not accept its petty gifts that give you nothing that you really want, if you will listen with an open mind that has not told you what salvation is, then you will hear the mighty voice of truth, quiet in power, strong in stillness, and completely certain in its messages.
Yeah. Wow, was that one sentence?
I know. I was
I was like,
that.
I was about to say stop. No, well, actually, it was one sentence. Okay.
Yes.
So big, long, one of the longest sentences in the course.
Yeah.
Off you go, Archie.
Okay, so if I can let go of the belief in separation's voice, however loudly it may seem to call, if I do not accept its petty gifts that give me nothing that I really want, and if I will listen with an open mind that has not told me what freedom is, then I will hear the mighty voice of truth, quiet in power, strong in stillness, and completely certain in its messages.
Yeah. Lovely. I mean, just really well said. You can't, I mean, so clear, so direct in its messaging. And when people say the course is difficult to understand, like most of it isn't. Some of the text gets a little bit trickier. But I mean, this is like, I mean, how much more direct must he be? He's speaking in plain English. He's telling us, very, very clearly and directly what the problem is.
Yeah.
And what the solution is.
Yeah. So let go of the belief in separation. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
that takes the form of all of these false idols. So that's how it works. It's okay. Just let go of the belief. Yeah, all right, I can do that. No, but you've got to let go of everything that values, everything that wants you to value: the money, the pills, the protective clothing, the favorable outcomes, the prestige, knowing the right people, and so on and so on. And that's what we struggle with, because we still value that stuff. We value it because we think that it is giving our separate self something of value, which, the separate self needs money to live and to support its needs and to fulfill its desires. So yes, it does offer the separate self something, but what we've got to realize is the separate self isn't real. The whole construct is unreal, right? The separate self is an unreal self concept that has now invented all of these false idols to perpetuate itself. That's what's going on here. Ingenious and very, very clever. If you were going to create a system designed to perpetuate a separate self, you would create exactly this system, wouldn't you? Because it's now disguised. It's not just, I'm just going to let go of my separate self and then I'm done. No, it's disguised as, I've got to let go of my attachment to money. I've got to let go of my attachment to pills and the whole medical system. I've got to let go of my attachment to clothing and all the favorable outcomes that I think I want, and the prestige, my status in society, and knowing the right people. I've got to let go of all that stuff. Now it becomes harder, because I've got to let go of stuff that I think I need and I want and I value. And that's and then people, no, the course is too full on for me. Can't do it. No, what you're saying is you don't want to let go of the stuff that you value. That's what you're really saying. You don't want to pay the price because you think it's a price, even though actually none of the stuff really helps you, and ultimately the stuff will all hurt you. Attachment to all this is going to hurt you sooner or later. That's what the course is teaching us. So best you let go of your attachment, and then where people go horribly wrong is they go, okay, so the course wants me to be poor because it's saying let go of all my money. No, it's saying let go of your attachment to all of your money. If you're not attached, you can have as much money as you like,
Mm.
because it's not a problem. Like, with that amount of money, you could be really helpful to people. You could be really generous. You could live an expanded life yourself. You could help other people. No, it's the attachment to the money that's the problem.
Mm.
So maybe that means you got to let go of your money temporarily, because you got to break the attachment. Maybe that's how it's got to roll for you. Very few people let go of attachment to money with lots of money. You generally have to lose it, right? So to learn to detach from it, that's how it goes. But and maybe once you've learned that, then you can have money. You just won't be attached to it. But you got to watch yourself. You got to watch your mind like a hawk, because we're very prone to getting attached and valuing these things. That's what the ego wants you to do. So this lesson is all about letting go of all these false idols and just valuing the one simple truth that is in us. And then the stillness, the peace that comes from that, is the benefit. I can have peace of mind. Can I have peace of mind when I'm attached to all these things? The ego says yes, but the ego's a liar. No, you can't. There's no peace of mind here, because you'll always fear that which you're attached to, you will lose. Got loads of money, great. Oh, I love my money. So, okay, now what's your fear going to be? Oh, I'll lose it. I won't have it. And then what? Then I'll be nothing. Without my money, I'm nothing. My money is my security. Then my great fear is I'll lose my money, and then I'm nothing. And of course, the more you fear that, the more likely that is to happen, because your fears will manifest. So there's no peace of mind. There's no stillness in any of these false idols. We just have to, to learn to let go of all of them, and that's the practice of forgiveness. And then when we let go of these false idols, we will naturally start to hear the voice for truth, quiet in power, strong in stillness, completely certain in its messages. But the letting go must happen first, and then this voice starts to speak, unmistakably so. Once you start to become aware of the voice of your true self and the Holy Spirit, you can clearly see that that's a very different kind of voice from the ego's voice, and you learn to discern the difference, and you learn to let go of the one and embrace the other. Because who would want that raucous shrieking of the ego when you can have this quiet, calm, still, strong voice within you that is always certain, that's always knows the right answer to everything, that will give you the right guidance? Like, why would you not want that in your corner, guiding you? Only you'd have to be insane not to want that, which is his whole point. Yeah, if you choose the ego, you're insane. To choose an insane guide is to be insane yourself and identify with the insanity even more so. But people do it all the time, because you see, it masquerades. The ego is the great liar and deceiver. It masquerades as something else that you want. So you think you want the money. You think the pills are going to protect you. You think your social media image and how many likes you get on Facebook or Instagram are important. And all of that is just deception to make you depart from the inner stillness that you really are, and the truth of who you are, and believe in an illusion instead. Okay, so let's move on to number 2 then. So you want to switch it, Archie, you read the original, Elaine, you read the alternative. We have some sentences in this one, fortunately.
Yep. Listen and hear your Father speak to you through his appointed voice, which silences the thunder of the meaningless and shows the way to peace to those who cannot see.
I will listen and hear my source speak to me through its appointed voice, which silences the thunder of the meaningless, and it shows the way to peace to those who cannot see.
Be still today and listen to the truth.
I will be still today and listen to the truth.
Be not deceived by voices of the dead, which tell you they have found the sources of life, which tell you they have found the source of life and offer it to you for your belief.
I am not deceived by voices of the dead, which tell me they have found the source of life and persuade me believe.
Yeah, I'm sorry, that's me. I'm just editing it as we go.
Yeah.
Persuade me to believe in it.
Attend them not, but listen to the truth.
I will not pay attention to them, but instead listen to the truth. From the top, I will listen and hear my source or abundance speak to me through its appointed voice, which silences the thunder of the meaningless and shows the way to peace to those who cannot see. I will be still today and listen to the truth or abundance. I am not deceived by voices of the dead, which tell me they have found the source of life and persuade me to believe in it. I will not pay attention to them, but instead listen to the truth of abundance. It's just basically saying, you're here to listen to the source or abundance, and we speak through that rather than the thunder and the meaningless of the.
You see, what abundance says to you is that you don't have any needs. You're okay as you are. You don't need any of this rubbish to be safe, to be secure, to be happy. None of that is necessary.
Yeah.
Just are happy as you are. That's abundance. As soon as you have these needs and these wants, there's no abundance. Even if you have lots of money to seemingly fulfill all your needs, that's not abundance. You're still in scarcity. You're still in this thought system of I need, I want. And now I'm going to have to use money to get what I think I want and I need. But actually, you don't need it. You don't need anything else except the truth. Once you've accepted that and you want to play a bit in the illusion and you carry on in the world, then yeah, money can be a useful tool. You have to have some money to live in society. So no problem, but there's no investment in it. There's no attachment to it there. The issue is the attachment to it. You've made it real in your mind and it becomes a block to the awareness of love's presence. And then it's a problem. Then you've got to let it go. So a lot of course students don't realize that, and that it's a process of letting go of your attachment to it. That doesn't necessarily mean you have to become poor. You have to give away all your money. Maybe that happens. Maybe it doesn't. Some people need to lose the money that they have in order to let go. Others maybe don't. You could theoretically do this as a multimillionaire. You could let go of attachment to your money. Theoretically, anyway. It's rare, but you could. Maybe all that money just go. What does it mean anyway? That could be another way of doing it, wouldn't you? I think there are a few people who've done that in history, not many, but it's possible. Because you just go, well, like I've got so much of it. What does it mean anyway? Like, does this? And often through struggle, they will have found that it didn't bring them happiness. That must be one of the most devastating things of all. You think the money's going to bring you happiness. You pursue it, you achieve it, and then I'm still not happy. Like, so what do I do now? I thought making lots of money would make me happy. It hasn't. Okay, well then I'll use my money to distract myself and give me temporary pleasure. That's often what happens, and then the dysfunction sets in. And a lot of the time, the wealth is then misused because they're not happy. Now the wealth is used to try and buy some happiness, but it doesn't work. So we can learn from all of that. We don't have to go and experience all of that directly. You can observe what other people have done and go, okay, that didn't work, and just learn from the example. Look at the celebrities of the world who have valued all this stuff, the money, the prestige, fancy clothes, pills, drugs, etc. Are they happy? No. So why would you want to follow that example there?
Jonathan, did you want to say truth of abundance, or did you want to say truth or abundance? Because you got
I quite like truth of abundance there. In that context.
Yeah, then line 3, the last sentence, you might want to change the or to of.
Yeah. What, number 2?
Yeah, just there where you've got your cursor.
Yeah. Do you think it works better as truth of abundance or truth or abundance?
I will be still today and listen to the truth. I like truth of abundance.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
quite like that as well.
Yeah.
It works well in that context. So the truth of abundance, which brings us, directly into this idea of an abundant life isn't about getting more of this illusory stuff. That's really not what it's about at
Yeah.
all. It's actually about detaching from all this stuff and realizing you don't need it, you don't want it. So that's where we discuss, sometimes the idea of being minimalist, frugality is actually abundance because you just don't need any of this stuff.
Yeah.
If you're wanting it and desiring it and thinking you need it, then you're actually in a state of scarcity. Even if you have more than enough money to pay for it all, you're still in scarcity. You're still in a state of lack, thinking that these outside things that money can buy are going to bring you happiness and peace. And that's a delusion. So he's calling us very clearly to go to the truth. Silence is the thunder of the meaningless. Quite appropriate.
Yeah.
Silence is the maybe clamor, thunder.
I like
clamor.
thunder. I like thunder.
Yeah. And the clamor of the meaningless would be like all these different voices, just going off in your head, the clamor of social media, the clamor of the world. Because that's how it comes across. All these voices, all this stuff going on all the time, right? 24/7 stuff's going on around the world. Clamor, people are continuously communicating, and most of it's rubbish. Most of it isn't helpful.
Yeah.
So you have to, learn to filter all of that out, silence it, and go into the stillness and the quietness in your mind and find the abundance there. And anchor yourself. And that process is called spiritual practice. When you do that, we call that a spiritual practice. So I'm going to leave it as clamor because it gives an alternative.
No, you're right. Actually, I think clamor works better because
Clamor of the meaning.
Yeah, because it's like a cacophony, isn't it? It's like lots of and
it's more. I understand what he's saying about the thunder, but this is more like in the real world. This is how it turns up. The clamor of the meaningless, all this stuff going on social media, and all these voices, and just people speaking a load of nonsense. You have to switch on the news and just listen to the clamor of the meaningless. And by highlighting it in this way, he's helping us to see it and go, that's exactly why we need to switch off from all this stuff. Literally switch the device off, take time, go within, and find this voice of truth within you that silences all this. Like in that stillness and that silence, you go, I don't need any of this stuff. You realize the more you go within, the more you realize like the clamor of the meaningless is not going to satisfy me. I just need to move away from it, let it go. So it is this is the end of this whole system that the ego has invented. This undoes all of that, which is why it has so much resistance to it. And it's always trying to pull you in through the clamor of the meaningless into, oh, come, I've got something interesting for you here. Here's another post on social media for you to look at. Here's another tweet. But, most of it's rubbish.
Yeah.
Those communication vehicles can be used for truth as well as illusion. So, if you're getting spiritual messages, that can be valuable, but you then need to learn to differentiate that from the meaningless. 99% of it's meaningless because it's just egoic and a load of rubbish. So I've deliberately stayed off social media for that reason, but I do recognize its power as a tool of communication, and that it can also be used to communicate the truth, and you can get a message across to people using the platform. So you've got to differentiate between the platform and the message.
Mm.
99% of what goes on social media is rubbish. That doesn't mean the platform doesn't have a value and it can't be used for truth. You've just got to, use it correctly. All right. So let's go on then to another slide. Let me be still and listen to the truth. So Lane, if you can read that one for us. Kindly.
Listen and hear your Father speak to you through his appointed voice, which silences the thunder of the meaningless and shows the way to peace to those who cannot see.
Yeah, so great. That's coming as a direct quote. So listen to your Father, your source, speak to you through this appointed voice, right? There is a voice in you, that's the Holy Spirit, which says to you that this is all rubbish. Silence is the thunder or the clamor of the meaningless, and shows you the way to peace to those who cannot see, i.e., perceive correctly. So that voice is designed to help us to have true perception. Okay, next one.
Who past all things which do not speak of him, who holds your happiness within his hand, held out to you in welcome and in love. There's a nice gift there in his hand.
Yeah, so just let go. What he's saying is let go of all these illusions of the world. And instead go within, and you'll find that your happiness is there. It's given to you in the quiet, in the stillness, and it's free. No one can charge you anything for it. It's absolutely free, given to you freely, generously, abundantly in every moment, and only you decide not to accept the gift. That's the very simple teaching. Yeah, it's only you who turn the gift away and say, no, thanks. I don't want that God. Instead, I want the clamor of the meaningless, because I think that offers me more. So they're very, very profound. That gift is there. Your abundance is there. It's given to you in every moment, and only you decide to deny it. And that's your choice to remain separated from it in scarcity, in lack and limitation, when that abundance is given to you every moment. And that's been happening for all time. Throughout time, that's the abundance has been there. You just haven't been aware of it because you chose to be aware of something else. Okay, let's go on then. Be not deceived.
Be not deceived by voices of the dead, which tells you they have found the source of life and offer it to you for your belief. Attend them not, but listen to the truth.
What's meant, Jonathan, by voices of the dead? What is it people who aren't awakened? Yeah.
Well, interesting. It could be voices of the dead. He could mean spiritually dead. That's an interpretation. He could also mean voices of the dead, as in your ancestors or people who've passed away, and then you're trying to connect with them. Guides. A lot of people go, these people, these people are guiding me. I've got my guides. I think he's referring to that, but you can interpret it in another way. You could also go, it's the voices of the spiritually dead. So I think it's a little warning, maybe a little pot shot at version of spirituality as people who go, but I'm talking to my ancestors, or I'm talking to my parents, or I'm and I'm really spiritual because I'm like going to the other side, and they'll use a medium or someone to connect. But I was actually listening to someone on the radio. One of these guys, DJs and a radio host, and he went to a medium. So no, well, I went to this medium, and she's like, well, your dad is here, and and his dad told him to lose weight. And he was like, well, surely you could tell me something a bit more profound than that, you know? But the point is, like, you know, if that was his dad's mindset when he was alive, then don't expect anything particularly profound because he's now dead, right? He's just going to give you, you know, much the same. So maybe that's what he's meaning. You can, as I said, you can interpret it how you want, but maybe he's having a little dig at that. Oh, you know, communicating with voices of the dead because they're dead, it must be spiritual. No, they could just be completely asleep and still dead. You know, and then you can get into trouble because now you've got some, you know, evil spirit and you invite that consciousness in to your mind and into your life as an advisor, and it's going to wreak havoc. That has happened. It's called possession and so on, because you're basically listening to the ego, the ego's voice, and it seems to be spiritual because it's not alive. It doesn't have a body. But that doesn't mean anything. You know, that doesn't mean anything. It could be completely deluded and confused, and then be coming through to you from the other side, so called, as this you know, non-physical being, but still very egoic, very, very, very confused. So I think he's just kind of warning us against that and going, you just listen to the one voice of the Holy Spirit, which transcends all this. You know, you won't get confused then by any of this stuff. You'll recognize it for what it is, as an illusion, and you'll learn to trust that inner voice, that one voice that is always there and it's always going to guide you correctly. And he has to disconnect us from all the other voices then, in order for us to listen to that one voice logically. And some of you might say, well, what's wrong with my guides or my angels, or, you know, they kind of got my back. Well, I'd say, you know, you need to be really, really vigilant, because maybe they don't. Maybe there's ego present in there. You know, you don't know. Maybe that's how the ego's giving you advice and using you, and it's dressing itself up in a spiritual form. Maybe it's authentic. Maybe that's how the Holy Spirit comes through to you. But then, you know, your next evolution of your awakening would be to go, okay, I don't really need the guide because that's like a persona. I just need to listen to the voice. I don't need it dressed up in that form, in other words. Yeah. So that would then be going more directly closer to the truth, in that you don't need the persona. Some people are still very attached to, oh, but you know, my guide was an ancient American Indian. Have you noticed? There was like these exotic guides. Never just have, oh, my guide was Mike next door, you know, from Surrey or something. No, it has to be someone, you know, no, this he was ancient Indian, or he was a Mayan, even better. Or he was somewhere, you know, some exotic. If you notice, so then there's a degree of ego there, because it has to be like fancy, you know, you've got to have a guide who's some special person or so on. So the nice thing with the Holy Spirit is just avoids all that. You just depersonalize it. It's just an inner knowing. It's just a quiet voice that speaks to you, and you just kind of intuitively know. It doesn't have to take on the form of a persona. In fact, that weakens it, in my view. That's if you don't know how to connect, then that can be helpful, and that's often a stage in people's spiritual growth. So I'm not going to say it's wrong, but at some point you're going to go, I can just connect directly.
Yeah.
So why would I want to take an indirect route and have this dressed up in a persona when I can just hear the voice? And then the more you do that, the more you realize, but this is my own voice. This is my own self talking to me. And so you start identifying with your true self, capital self, rather than various personas that, you know, are giving you spiritual knowledge and advice. Actually, they are all the one self. If they are authentic, then they will tell you, yeah, you're just the same as me, you know. And the persona that I've adopted has been helpful for you, but it's not necessary anymore, because you are what I am, and it's your own It's your own most innermost voice that you're listening to. And then you start to really awaken, don't you? And you're like, oh, it's just me all along. My guides have been me. It's just been my own voice speaking to me. But I didn't quite get that at the time. So I thought it was coming from these, third-party entities, which are non-physical. So I think that's what he means, but up to you. There's interpretation there. It could also be interpreted as the voices of the spiritually dead. So you're not going to listen to those because they don't really know what they're doing, and they're believing in a death wish. That's another valid interpretation. Okay, so let's go to number 3 then. Be not afraid today.
Shall I read the original?
Yeah.
Be not afraid today to circumvent the voices of the world.
I'm not afraid today to circumvent the voices of the world.
Walk lightly past their meaningless persuasion.
I walk lightly past their meaningless persuasion.
Hear them not.
I will not hear them.
Be still today and listen to the truth.
I will be still today and listen to the truth.
Go past all things which do not speak of him who holds your happiness within his hand, held out to you in welcome and in love.
I will go past all things which do not speak of it, which holds my happiness within its hand, held out to me in welcome and love.
Hear only him today and do not wait to reach him longer.
I hear only it today and will not wait to reach it longer.
Hear one voice today.
I hear only one voice today. From the top, I will not be afraid today to circumvent the voices of the world. I will go lightly past their meaningless persuasion. I will not hear them. I will be still today and listen to the truth. I will transcend all things which do not speak of it, which holds my happiness within its power, held out to me in welcome and love. I hear only today, and I will not wait to reach it longer. I will hear only one voice today. So it's just just asking us to go past the voices of the world and just gently move yourself towards the power of our true self. And that's where our happiness in the silence, transcending all of these things.
And everything ends there. This is the ancient wisdom. This is the perennial philosophy. In the self, capital self, everything ends. The search ends. There's no more seeking. There's no more needing, wanting, grasping, desiring, fearing. You rest in that self eternally. And the body and the world don't matter very much anymore. I'm disidentified with those. So when Ramana Maharshi, enlightened being, very, very, very identified with his true self. When he was dying of cancer, his followers were sad, and he just said to them, "But have you learned nothing? I've taught you all the years that I'm not physical, that I'm just this one self, and now you're mourning the death of the physical." He said, "I'm not really going anywhere. Myself isn't dying. It's just a vehicle that's temporarily seems to be a separate self that's going away, but the capital self is going nowhere." So, he's not concerned about it at all. It's just like, oh, man, well, the body's going to go. It was never real anyway. I'm not identified with it at all. So, what's the big deal? It's just I don't change at all. Just an illusory form is let go of. And so that's how the self will help you to deal with sickness and suffering and death. He wasn't bothered. He was still in moksha, still in a state of bliss, even though his body's dying of cancer. And people go, well, how's that possible? Like, surely, he's an enlightened being. He should heal himself. Maybe he didn't want to. He was just like, well, just let the body go, right? This is my time. It's my time to exit. So why would I resist that? If I'm just the self, then why would I want to save a body that no longer serves me?
Mm.
So we've got to understand it from that enlightened perspective. If you're not a body and the body's not important, then yeah, why would you bother saving a body? Why wouldn't you just willingly go, okay, I'll let the body go? So it's an interesting question to ask yourself. If I were diagnosed with cancer and doctor said, we got 6 months to live, would you actually do anything to try and save yourself? Or would you just go, all right, yeah, it's fine. It's just that's my exit.
Mm.
An interesting, interesting spiritual exercise to do, because the ego will go, oh no, you got to save the body, and go through hell essentially. Chemotherapy, the hell they put people through to save the body, and then most of them die anyway. So you put someone through hell in their last 6 months of life. It was terrible, and then they die anyway. Well, that's where it was a really good idea.
Yeah.
So
No, it's interesting that, Jonathan, because a friend of mine had breast cancer a few years ago, and she made the decision not to pursue medical treatment, but to let the cancer take its course. Yeah.
And you can't really say that was a wrong decision.
No, not at all. No.
Did you survive?
No, she didn't. No. No, and it was interesting. Again, she was very spiritually aware, and she was a healer and a Reiki practitioner. And I have to say, I was actually surprised, because I thought, that she may have turned the cancer around, because of, her own sort of healing modalities, but she didn't. But
yeah, because it's just a family member. Dave's son's wife's got breast cancer, but she's going through the operation and all the stuff that goes with it.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, again, it depends, because she's 50 and it's only a grade 1 or 2, so she's got a good prognosis. So I suppose it depends, really.
Yeah.
Well, everyone needs to make the decision themselves. But if you're not attached to the body and you're not attached to this life, then so what? Why would you want to save the body? Unless you've got a mission to fulfill here, maybe you go, I still haven't done what I came to do. I've got lessons to learn. I've got a purpose to fulfill. I've got more to give. Okay.
She's got a holiday in August. There's 11 of them going on holiday. So I assume that she'll want to do that. But it's not spiritual, though, no. She's a family lady, yeah.
Well, if you're not spiritual, it's a bit terrifying. Then you're like, well, the body is me, and so now I'm being threatened, and I've got to defend against that. And so, yes, I must do the treatment because this could save the body, which is my life. And then I have more of this, precious thing called life. Of course, it's not permanent, because at some point you're going to die anyway, right? You could heal of cancer and then die in 20 years or 30 years. So at some point you're going to face death. So maybe just a delay. So you need to get to grips with it. And maybe it's a wake-up call for her, maybe it's not. Maybe she just goes, okay, well, I did the treatment and I got better. I had the tumor removed and I've dealt with it. Okay, happy days. Let's carry on. Eat, drink, and be merry, and all's going to be well. But it's not, because at some point you're going to have to face death anyway, whether the cancer comes back or not. At some point, the body's going to die. So best we get into the right mindset around it sooner rather than later. And that mindset is simply, well, I'm the eternal self. I cannot die, and the body doesn't mean anything. The body is just a vehicle that it was designed by the ego to imprison my mind into believing it was a separate self. Now that I'm awakened, I can use the body for the only purpose it really has, which is communicating love.
Mm.
And so that's a valid purpose. The body has a temporary purpose here for that purpose. Maybe you choose to stick around and do that for a while in the body, which would give the body the only use it has. But maybe your time is done. Maybe Ramana could have healed himself, but he was like, but I don't want to. I'm quite happy to go. I've been around 72, I think he was. Some people, that's not very old. He should have been older because he was a spiritual master. When we make all these decisions when you have no idea, you have no idea what his journey was, what his choice was. Paramahansa Yogananda died at 50, 51. They were like, oh, he was so young, well, why did he die of a heart attack? Because he was so young. Because maybe that was his time. He decided I've played my part, I've played this role, and it's time to leave. I can go home. And maybe my hanging around isn't actually helpful anymore, because maybe my followers need to detach from me, physical form of me, and learn that the presence that I've taught them from is within them, as Jesus did. He left, which I think was essential. If he'd stayed around longer, I don't think it would have been helpful for his message to spread and for his disciples. They were way too attached to him as the teacher, and he knew that. So he had to leave to introduce them to the Holy Spirit and get them to experience that for themselves without him as a physical teacher to rely on. And that's then was what was necessary for the whole movement to grow. And of course, his resurrection, crucifixion, resurrection was a big part of that. But then that convinced them that he was genuine, he was the real deal, and that they were going to give their lives, literally some of them did, to this, to teaching this. So, it just goes to show you, in summary, we can't judge. We're in no position to judge anything, really, because we're clueless. So it's better just to go, well, I can't say, I can't understand why someone as enlightened Ramana Maharshi got cancer and died, or Ken Wapnick, also very enlightened, cancer, died. Okay, that was their path, that was their way out, that was their exit, maybe. But who knows? Don't even go there and speculate on that. Rather just focus on your own path. I think it's very tempting to get involved in others' paths and go, it's enlightened, but what's a distraction? You just missing the point. It's about your own path. All right, so happy to go on. We've read number 3. So let's go to number 4 then. You want to switch it, Elaine? You read the original, Archie the alternative.
Today the promise of God's word is kept.
Today the promise of perfect love's message is kept.
Hear and be silent.
I hear and am silent.
We would speak to you.
It speaks to me.
He comes with miracles 1,000 times as happy and as wonderful as those you ever dreamed or wished for in your dreams.
It comes with miracles 1,000 times as happy and wonderful as those I ever dreamed or wished for in my dreams.
His miracles are true.
Its miracles are true.
They will not fade when dreaming ends.
They will not fade when dreaming ends.
They end the dream instead and last forever, for they come from God to his dear Son, whose other name is you.
They end the dream instead and last forever, for they come from perfect love to its dear extension, whose other name is me.
Prepare yourself for miracles today.
I prepare myself for corrections today.
Today I allow your Father's ancient pledge to you and all your brothers to be kept.
Today I allow my source's ancient pledge to me and everyone to be kept. So from the top, today the promise of perfect love's message is kept. I hear and am silent. It speaks to me. It comes with miracles 1,000 times as happy and wonderful as those I ever dreamed or wished for in my dreams. Its miracles are true. They will not fade when dreaming ends. They end the dream instead and last forever, for they come from perfect love to its dear extension, whose other name is me. I prepare myself for corrections today. Today I allow my source's ancient pledge to me and everyone to be kept.
Okay.
Mm.
So, thoughts on that?
I don't quite know how to summarize it. Yeah, so yeah. Yeah, just about miracles coming all the time and being happy and wonderful. Yeah, they don't fade. They last forever. And they come from, from perfect love.
Mm. So these miracles, maybe we should translate that as corrections. We normally do comes with corrections. 1,000 times as happy and as wonderful, so as I ever dreamed or wished for in my dreams. So we translate miracles as corrections because there's a clear corrective element. You're changing your mind.
Mm.
It will not fade when the dream ends. They end the dream instead. In perfect love. Let's put in abundance there. Or abundance to its dear extension, whose other name is me. I prepare myself for corrections today. So my source's ancient pledge to me. So these miracles, synchronicities, beneficial events, these little things tell you that there's something else. There's another presence. There is this source. There is this abundance. There is this love that's there. And it's still present. It's still there. It's an active force in your life. It's got your back. It's trying to help you, and that's what he's pointing us to here.
Mm.
Yeah, the happy dream he's talking about, right? This is 1,000 times as happy and wonderful as those I ever dreamed or wished for in my dreams. So what he's saying to you is when you let go and you trust the flow, things will happen to you will be so much more than you could have wished with your ego. Yeah, your egoic goals and desires and so on cannot bring you the same happiness and sense of wonder. And we kind of know that experientially. I mean, think Pachi of your retreat experience recently.
Mm.
Yeah, that's a good example. Like you couldn't have designed that better. You couldn't have gone, okay, so I'm going to set the goal and I'm going to go to Italy. I'm going to meet all these wonderful people, and you couldn't have scripted that. It just happened because you let go. You went with the flow, and it's almost better when it's a surprise. If you went with expectation of all of that, it's not the same.
Yeah.
It's wonderful when it unfolds spontaneously. It's like, oh wow, that's amazing. I didn't expect that. I didn't plan that, and yet it's happening. That's grace.
Yeah.
Now you start to feel the presence of grace and this genuine gratitude because it's just given to you. You're like, well, I didn't ask for it. I didn't expect it. I just kind of showed up, went with the flow, and then look at what's been given to me. That's what he's pointing us to. This state of really spontaneous flow and this abundance of life and this gratitude for what's unfolding spontaneously in your life. That's so much better than what you could have planned and goal set and ground your way towards.
Yeah.
That's what the ego does. So much better than that whole very limited goal setting mindset.
Mm.
That, like, he's just trying to say, just give it a try. Like, what I'm offering you is actually amazing. It's better than anything you could dream of or imagine. Just trust me and allow this to happen for you.
Mm.
And so the only requirement to live in this state is to let go of our own control, which is the separate self, wanting to control it and go, oh, no, I've got to manage this and I've got to control it and I've got to plan it. And as soon as you plan too much, the spontaneity and the joy is gone, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what happens. You lose the essence of the miracle, and it becomes, oh, now this was an expectation and it was planned, and the best you can get is only what you expected.
Mm.
But most of the time, it's less than you expected, so you feel disappointed because it didn't fulfill those expectations. So there's the ego recipe for unhappiness, rather than, well, I'm just going to go with the flow. I'm going to trust the process, and great. Everything shows up well. Fantastic. I enjoy that. And you know what? If you'd had a week where it was really challenging and you had a roommate from hell and a teacher from hell, you could have gone, okay, well, that was obviously what I needed to experience. That was my lesson.
Exactly.
That was my retreat. I had to go and do a lot of soul searching, a lot of letting go. So that was also good. And no expectation. And then the next one, if you went on another one next year, it'll be different. So don't have an expectation of, oh, it'll be, everyone's going to be exactly what you need at that time for your spiritual evolution. If you need to be shown more miracles and blessings, that'll happen. And if you need some lessons and you've got to let go of some stuff, then that'll happen.
Yeah.
And both of them are good. Both of them are miracles, as we've got to learn to see. So all things work for good. All things happen for my benefit and my awakening is, one of the primary teachings of the course we've got to learn. But it's one of the hardest teachings, isn't it? To learn that requires a complete letting go of your own judgments and your own expectations. So, okay, I just don't know. I can't actually say whether that's good or bad. It just is what it is, and there's a lesson to be learned. If it seems to be negative, then I've just got to let go of it. And if it's positive and beneficent, I can just experience it and enjoy it. But don't get carried away with it. Don't go, oh, this is amazing, and I'm so enlightened, and hey, chihuahua, I've arrived. Ta-da! No, it's just an experience, and then this too will pass. That experience passes, and then as you've experienced, you come back, and now you're feeling overwhelmed again.
Yeah.
And there's stuff to deal with. It's like, okay, well, that was a little time of grace, and then you come back, and there's more lessons to be learned.
Yeah.
It's all good. It's all perfect in its imperfection.
Yeah.
And then life's okay. Life's the happy dream. It's all okay, no matter what's happening. That's what we've got to learn.
And what can I ask, Jonathan, what is Source's ancient pledge to me then, that that I am one, I'm not separated?
That I will find it.
Source.
That I will reunite my mind with it.
Yeah,
That's the ancient
that's the
pledge.
ancient pledge. Yeah.
That I will not be lost in an illusion forever.
Yes. Yeah.
That I will find my way home.
Yeah.
So the moment we separated, the Source's ancient pledge, obviously this is put into language, putting something metaphysical into language, but the moment we separated, at that moment, the atonement was given to us. The one-ment was given to us. So let's go back into our favorite diagrams, have a quick look. So at that moment of separation, there was the reinterpretation immediately given. That possibility immediately was there, that yes, one day we'll change our mind and we'll go back.
Yeah.
That's what it means. So
Okay.
it's built into the very fabric of this so-called reality.
Yeah.
That this call home, this return home,
Mm.
is there as the alternate to the ego's dream,
Yeah.
but we must decide. That's not just given to us, it's there as a possibility, but we must accept it. So it's by our so-called free will that we choose to accept that, and
Mm.
we choose to relinquish the ego and reverse our original decision of separation.
Yeah.
And so that's what he means by the ancient
Yeah.
pledge.
Thank you.
We will go home.
Yeah.
Which is very comforting, isn't it? Yes.
Yeah,
it doesn't matter how lost you get.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter how bad you think it is. You will go home at some point, and the choice is yours as to when you want to. You know, how soon do you want to? Someone once said to me, "So, how long does this all take? You know, how quickly will I become enlightened, essentially?" And I said, "Well, you know, very simple. As long as you want it to take." That's the question. That's as simple as that. If you really decided right now, fully, completely to drop the ego, then it's done.
Yeah.
You know, you're home. But for most people, it's a process. It doesn't just happen overnight because the ego doesn't go that quickly, and it's deep seated in our psyche, and so we don't even know what it is. It's hidden there. It's buried, and so we have to journey through life and uncover it and go through the various lessons. The journey of doing that. That's how it works in practice.
Mm.
Most people. Occasionally, you get someone who just gets it. Like, say, Romano. We talked about Romano earlier. Romano, when he was 16, had this profound experience where he just went into an intense fear of death. His father had died a few years earlier, and I think that had affected him obviously. And so he went into this intense fear of his own death and his own mortality, but somehow he managed to stay present in the self, the capital self, through that experience. And so he disidentified from the fear so completely that he just remained connected to his true self pretty much for the rest of his life. That was a sort of permanent shift that took place. Now that's like a 1 in a million, maybe even a 1 in a billion, that kind of thing happens.
Mm.
It's very unusual that a 16-year-old, would have that sort of profound experience, and then, like he's done, he's enlightened and spends most of the rest of his life in meditation and sitting in ashrams and meditation. And he's in India, so that kind of thing is supported.
Mm.
If you grew up in the UK, they'd say, "Go get a job, you lazy bum." What are you doing sitting around? Everyone else is working, and you're just like sitting, blissing out. Like, who the hell do you think you are? But in that culture, it was like, okay, so he's obviously had a shift. He's an enlightened being, and that's supported in that culture. Fortunately, because we need those people in the world, and then other people followed him, and they built the ashrams, and he wasn't really interested in any of that stuff. Just saw all sort of a movement grew up around him because he was a frequency holder. He just held that frequency of peace, and people would just be in his presence and go, "Wow, like amazing! I just feel so peaceful," because his frequency is so strong. And then of course people go, "Okay, well, I just want to hang around you, and okay, let's build an ashram for you so we can hang around you," and so on. And then they organized all the stuff. Okay, so today the
Sorry,
promise of
Jonathan,
God's
can
word
I
is kept.
just
Yeah.
ask another question? So when in the first line, when it says the promise of God's word is kept, so the promise of perfect love's message is kept, that's the same as the ancient pledge, is it? So he's just just saying that in a different way.
Yeah. God's word is perfect love's message to us, which says, "I have not forgotten you. Return home." The prodigal son idea. Come back. You're welcome home anytime. There's no hard feelings. Basically, I don't have any judgment of you for disappearing and squandering and doing whatever you've done. You're just welcome back anytime, whenever you choose. The prodigal son story is a great story because he had to. The son had to go have that experience, and then make the choice to come back and return home. The father was just waiting. Once the choice was made, then the father just says, okay, great, welcome back. And no hard feelings, which is unconditional love. And that's perfect love's message, that it doesn't matter what you think you've done, this loving awareness remains there for you, and you can return to it anytime you want, which is the grace that's given to us.
No, that's great. Thank you, Jonathan. I'm going to drop off now because it's 5 to 6. So yeah, thank you.
All right. Wow.
Yeah, I know.
I thought it was about 5:30.
I'm going to have to go as well.
Okay. Well, that's fine. So should we just end it there? Good session.
Yeah, no, that was great. No, thank you for the discussion was really valuable. So thank you.
Yeah, it is.
And the expression.
Yes.
Going to help you make some choice, some correct choice, right-minded choices. I think to leave it with you, the right-minded choices that you make are then what change your life. Out of this awareness. So you make those choices, and then the corrections happen, and the dream unfolds in the happiest way possible for you. So go forth and do that, and I will see you on Wednesday.
Yes, Wednesday evening. I can do from 6:30.
30.
Yeah.
Cool. Start then. Yeah. Okay.
Great.
See you next week.
Then. Thanks. Bye.
Right. Bye.
Namaste.
Yeah.
You're heading off, Elaine. You're welcome to stay for a meditation if you want, Elaine. You've got to go.
Well, I've got a few chores to do, to be honest. Yeah, but thank you. Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah.
All right.
See you next week.
Yeah, see you next week.
Bye. Bye.
Let you know when. Bye. All right, so that is a wrap for today. Thank you to Archie and Elaine for joining. If you enjoyed the session, a couple of things you can do about it. You could subscribe to the channel so you can get notified whenever I go live. YouTube will pop up a message saying live stream, or you can catch it on recording so you'll know that it's happened. I do this twice a week. So hit the subscribe button if this resonated with you. And you can also go to lifepool.com. You can see the spelling of that in my background. Just type in lifepool as well there and put in a .com, or there's a link below, and you can go over there and put in your mobile number that you use for Telegram. If you don't have Telegram, it's a messaging app similar to WhatsApp that is free. You can download it for free on the Google Play or the App Store. Once you've done that, then I'll be notified, and you just stick in your number, and I'll add you to a Telegram group, which will allow you to get daily inspirational quote and some teachings around that, some comments. I like what you saw earlier in the session. That was an example. That was just in an email form. Send it out in Telegram form. And a mind training lesson from A Course in Miracles, some other resources, like from access to discussion sessions, recordings, little mini meditations on the lesson, sometimes ebooks, free ebooks, and videos, short videos from people like Eckhart Tolle, longer movies. Yeah, there's a lot in the program, and it's all freely available at lifepool.com. Put in your mobile number, and I'll add you to the list. So I hope to catch you on the inside of the group or in one of these live sessions, perhaps. Thanks for watching or listening, and namaste. Which means the true self in me acknowledges and honors that same true self in you. I'm wishing you much love, peace, and joy.